Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. Oh, I'm going to talk today with someone and something that I love to talk about. Connie Bourgeois, she is with Conjetta Designs. She is our guest, and I know she's well known in the St. Louis fashion industry and all throughout the U.S., actually. We're going to talk to her about all she's been doing and a very exciting partnership that we have coming up for the month of October. So if you love fashion, you're going to love today's show. And I'm going to show off, by the way, what I'm wearing today because it is from her place. So stay tuned for that. We also, of course, have a little news you can use. We'll talk about this changing crazy weather that we've been dealing with and getting you started for your Tuesday. So good morning to all of you. Welcome into the show, The Real Monica Adams Show. Remember, for all of your friends and family who don't want to be on social media, tell them we're on YouTube. So a lot of them love to go over on YouTube because they don't have to deal with what they consider maybe some negativity that has to do with maybe the other platforms. But for those of you who love Facebook, that is our biggest audience, and it continues to grow and grow. Don't forget to tell your friends and family members to click on follow, like the page, share these stories of inspiration and hope and entrepreneurship, supporting small business. That's what we're all about today. So good morning to you. One fell swoop right now, and I'll look at the comments throughout the show. Be sure to make sure that you are heard. Love you all dearly. So Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and Rumble. And we added Twitch sometimes, like if it's more kind of a geared towards a younger audience or more into the gaming world, we like to flip on that platform. But is there a platform that we're not on? I heard somebody else the other day say something about Letterbox. Have not heard about that one, but look, we love to keep growing. And then after the show, be sure to look at our reels and stories. We put those on YouTube as shorts. We also put them on Facebook. We put them on Instagram. And then sometimes we're getting a little bit more and more. I got to remind myself to go over and put things on TikTok. So is there anything we're not doing that you would like for us to do when it comes to the show? If there is, let us know. Just shoot me an email, info@therealmonicaadams.com. All right, we talked a little bit about the weather and how it's continuing to change. So it's been absolutely beautiful. It is going to get warmer. So if you thought fall was here and staying around, well, no. Look at those numbers. Today, 82, so a little bit warmer than we saw yesterday. 62 for a low tonight. Still very pretty. And then it starts to warm up. So if those pools are still open, you're going to love the next several days. 89 for a high on Wednesday. We go into Thursday, 91. It starts to creep up. Now, here's the good thing, though. Not a lot of humidity, but it is going to be warmer. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the highs will be in the low to mid 90s. We do have a slight chance of isolated rain on Monday with a high of 89. That's when the Cardinals are back in action at home. And Tuesday and Wednesday, dry conditions, upper 80s expected. By Thursday, again, a slight chance of rain. So there's not a lot of rain out there. You are going to have to get the hoses back out if your plants and if your front yards and your backyards are looking a little crusty, you might need to start putting the sprinkler out because there's not a lot of rain in that forecast over the next 10 days. All right, let's get into some news. Can you believe this? We talked, first of all, about one of the winning Powerball tickets being sold in Missouri as well as in Texas. Now, we had this cute, cool tie. I need to reach out to our friends in Fredericksburg because they had a winning ticket in Fredericksburg, Texas. We had one in Missouri, but again, it could have been anywhere in the state. Where was it sold? St. Louis County, more specific, up in North County. How exciting is this? Somebody that we may know walking around hasn't said just yet that they're the winner. They get to split that $1.787 billion with a B jackpot that was drawn on Saturday. In a release sent out by the Missouri Lottery, the winning ticket was bought at the Quick Trip at 12110 Lusher Road, a record-setting night for the Missouri Lottery, with the $893.5 million prize ranking as the highest jackpot prize won in Missouri to date. It exceeds the previous record of $293.7 million from a Powerball drawing that was held in November of 2012. So that winning ticket holder can choose between two claiming options: receiving the prize in one lump sum, which was $410 million, or receiving the full amount of $893.5 million in 30 graduated annuity payments. Both prize options are, of course, before taxes. So I asked all of you yesterday, what would you do, the lump sum, or would you do it gradually over 30 years? In addition to one of the Powerball jackpot winning tickets sold here in Missouri, the Missouri Lottery said 3 additional players won $50,000 in that same drawing. So again, we're urging you to check your tickets. The jackpot was the second largest in U.S. lottery history. With the win being the 32nd time a Missouri ticket has won a Powerball jackpot prize. So congratulations again to everyone. The other exciting thing is the Quick Trip that sold that will get $50,000 bonus. And then for anybody that, if they had all 5 of those white balls that were matched, they get $1,000. So we give some money back to the organization, obviously in this case, the Quick Trip that sold that, and $16.9 million will be given to Missouri education. So that aspect is exciting as well. So much money going around to the winner, to our education, and to small businesses. So this is a win-win-win for the state of Missouri. All right, as you're tuning in, again, we're running through some news you can use. Do want you to pay attention to this. If you have children, you have nieces, nephews, grandkids, baby loungers that were sold on Amazon are being recalled for suffocation risks. So this could be very dangerous to your children. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has recalled YWO baby loungers in the style gray feather that you're seeing there on the screen. They are covered in a gray feather printed fabric with a foam sleeping pad and padded bumpers. URMYWO and the model number UMCZ C01AE are printed on the labels on the side of that lounger. Now, I know I'm giving you a lot of letters and a lot of numbers, so I'm going to put this in the comment section so you can look and see if this is something that you or someone you know has in their homes. They were sold on Amazon between January of 2024 and April of 2025. Stop using those baby loungers immediately. Contact Pomona for a full refund. Again, we don't want to see anybody injured. We talk sometimes about these recalls, and we always say, ideally, that it is an early recall and hopefully no one is injured or let alone dies from this. So again, I just put it into the comment section for you so you have all the information that you need to know. Police agencies warning our area of an increase in cable wire thefts. Several groups that they're seeing that are actually involved in this. Authorities in Franklin County saying several groups have been seen cutting down the cables to sell to scrap yards. They're warning businesses and residents stay alert, especially in the evening. In Jefferson County, police said the thefts have led to service being cut off at hospitals, at schools, at 911 centers, and a lot more. So this is a dramatic increase in the theft of AT&T and Spectrum cable wires. Spectrum is offering $25,000 for information that leads to the arrest and the conviction of these thieves. So again, be alert, and as they said, really be alert in the evening. Okay, we've got a follow-up to a story that we did for you yesterday, and I'm not sure. I think our audience does an amazing job at being very aware and helping our authorities out. We're all about helping the community. We talked about this food truck that was stolen, right? Well, it has been recovered. Unfortunately, it does need repairs because it was heavily damaged. This is K-Bop, a famous Korean restaurant food truck. It was stolen Friday, found on the other side of the river in Caseyville on Sunday. Despite getting the truck back, the owner says he will have to pay thousands of dollars in repairs, unfortunately. The food ventilation system is gone. The ignition part is gone. He said it's just horrible. There's a complete mess inside. So this is when the community steps up, right? The food truck makes about a quarter of the restaurant's sales. The business is expecting to reopen it, have it running soon. But I would love to see some kind of a GoFund or something created for this gentleman and his team to try to, you know, when it comes to small businesses, everybody needs every dollar. They don't need to be spending thousands of dollars in repairs. So support him, or when he does get everything back open, let's support him big time by going in and ordering more food, maybe ordering for, you know, a ton of different businesses. All right, health news now. This is kind of scary, and if you're getting ready to eat breakfast, you might not want to see this picture on the screen here. It's kind of crazy looking, isn't it? Screw worms. It's a flesh-eating parasite that has U.S. officials and ranchers bracing for infestation following the first reported human case last month. So the infection cases in humans, they're rare, but most of them, they're saying, can be treated. Although the patient in this one that we already know about has recovered. There's no indication that the infection spread to any other people or animals. Some states are still concerned about the rising rates of screwworm infections outside of the U.S., particularly in Mexico. Texas ranchers focusing on how to protect their cattle. According to some outfits, the Kansas Department of Health and Environment issued an alert back in September on the 5th, urging healthcare providers to stay vigilant. The screwworms, by the way, are parasitic flies that burrow in warm-blooded tissue, and their females lay larvae that further invade the tissue. So, what is this New World screwworm? It comes from the way the larvae tend to screw themselves into open wounds. And as I said, I know this sounds gross, but we need to be aware of it. Again, ranchers and health officials increasing their efforts, spreading awareness at this point, as a screwworm can kill the cattle within days. And U.S. health officials reported the first human case of this infection just last month. So I'll keep an eye on this particular health story for you. If we find out any more, we'll, of course, pass that along. All right, where's my soccer fans that are out there? Here's what you need to know to buy those World Cup tickets, okay? So it's a week from Wednesday. This is super exciting, by the way. The first phase of ticket sales for the 2026 FIFA World Cup will be open to fans. They announced the entry period for the Visa pre-sale draw will open at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Tickets start at $60 for group stage matches and will increase to as much as $6,730 for exclusive seats at the final. Fans who are interested in purchasing tickets have to register their interest and create a FIFA ID at FIFA.com/tickets. And once registered, you will be notified about ticketing sales dates and how the purchasing process works. Kansas City is set to host 4 group stage matches in the tournament, as well as a round of 32 games on July 3rd and a quarterfinal July 11th. You can check out the full match schedule. We will be dropping that in the comments for you as well. But I know I got a lot of soccer fans that watch this show on a regular basis, so thought you might want to know about that. If you are a baseball fan, I know less and less people have been going to Busch Stadium. Maybe by the time they come back next week, you'll decide to go again. The latest on the Cardinals, they lost, unfortunately, to the Mariners. The final was 4-2. Same 2 teams tonight. It's a late game, by the way, at 8:40. And we wrap things up with our National Day of calendar. It's National Wiener Schnitzel Day. Well, this is interesting because next week, my sister-in-law is going to join me on a Foodie Friday, and we'll actually be making German schnitzel. So we should have done it this week, unfortunately. Care Bears, Share Your Care Day. National Ants on a Log Day. Okay, that looks like raisins and peanut butter. National Teddy Bear Day. That is how we get you all up to date in news you can use. And again, things that are going on locally and around the world. All right, if you are a fashionista, or maybe you need a little help in that realm, today is the day for your show. If you're a small business and you want to learn how to truly market yourself, get your brand out there, today is your day for so many levels. And we're going to talk about something exciting at the end of the show you want to stay tuned for as well. Connie Bourgeois, she is with Conjetta Designs, and she's my guest when we return.
When you want to feel good, you work out at Crunch. You don't go here, because here feels bad. But here we help you feel good, feel strong, feel rejuvenated.
Join Crunch Fitness today.
But by the end of this, I want 100% raising your hands. I'm here to empower you because you all have intrinsic value. I don't care if someone has told you that you don't. Today, we are here to make you believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bonacorsi, and I'm the president and founder of J Bloom. And I chose Monica Adams to be our keynote speaker because of the positivity that she illuminates whenever she speaks. She's an amazing influence and has so much impact on these women that they are going to leave change.
It's a constant education. Never stop being the leader. If you are given the opportunity to be, and I hate the word boss, by the way, don't we like leader more? Have you all seen that image of a boss shouting behind their team and then the leader out in the trenches? And I know there's a lot of people that are thrown into your paths, and there are people who try to squash your dreams. It could be your partner, it could be your parents, your children, a boss that you've had, but you cannot, from this day forward, I'm going to ask you to not give them power any longer. So we think it, we write it, we hear it. Think right here. Make connections today. Then pave that way. You now have the awareness. So how do you pave that path?
Your message, like at the end, you be anything but before that, be kind.
Yep.
My husband's a pastor, and that every one of his sermons, that's always within it. That be kind.
Yep.
You have to be kind.
It is.
Oh, you're fine.
Look at this. So there's an employee out there who still thinks of you because you were kind to them. Never stop being that leader. By the way, I want to be remembered for this phrase when I'm no longer on this earth. The greatest rewards in life come from the most uncomfortable walk. God meant for me to talk to you. Oh, it's okay. You, honey, have a lot of value. And someone's told you that you don't. And I was meant to be in your life today. I've always said, I have chills. Do we all have chills? God, I say, if you can have me change one person's life, then I have done your job. I'm hoping it's all of you. But see, she's not okay for whatever reason. I don't know your story, but I'm going to tell you they're wrong. And all these women believe in you.
To hire Monica Adams for your next event, email info@therealmonicaadams.com.
Well, welcome back, and thanks again for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. If you're just signing on, be sure to let your friends and family know that we're on. We give you inspiration and hope and all the good things in the world. If there is something that has kind of a negative connotation, it is for our community to step up and for us to be aware and to help one another. That's what this is all about, being kind. That's my greatest message. The other message that we love is small business, helping small business. And guess what? That's the message of my guest today, Connie Bourgeois. She is the CEO of Conjetta Designs. Many other things as well that we'll talk about throughout the show, but let me welcome you. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Hi, Monica. I'm so pleased to be here and excited to get into the conversation.
Well, the fun thing is, Connie, that I have two very dear friends of mine who are close to you as well, and they both on separate occasions have said, oh, you've got to bring Connie on your show. You will love her, and the two of you, who knows what you can do together, that being Audra Harold and Diane Isbell. So shout out to them if you're watching this morning. If not, I know a lot of them get a chance to watch after work or at lunchtime, etc. That's the beauty of streaming, that you can watch this show whenever, take it in increments, etc. So let's tell you about Conjetta Designs and how that name all came about, because I asked Connie when I first met her. Here's where you can find her. So as you are watching throughout the show, Conjetta Designs, you can go to conjettadesigns.com and then at Conjetta.Designs. You can find them on Facebook, on Instagram. Are you on TikTok as well?
Yes, we are.
All the socials. So we're going to talk about her illustrious career. Let me give you a little background. She is a seasoned fashion industry expert based right here in St. Louis, currently serving, as I mentioned, as the CEO of Conjetta Designs, a boutique global manufacturing firm and an adjunct fashion professor at Washington University in St. Louis. She has extensive experience in design as well as product development, sourcing, logistics, brand building, and sales, and uniquely positioned to offer valuable insights to brands. We're talking about you. So as you're watching this morning, brands of all sizes seeking innovative solutions in the fashion space. And she's got a ton of brand partnerships, by the way. I mean, think about this. If you've been into a Whole Foods, and so, you know, Connie was telling me about this, Whole Foods as well as the Cardinals, she may have been either manufactured for, consulted for, or designed for these brands, or had her products featured maybe in People, FabFitFun, the NBA, Rawlings, Arch Apparel. I could go on and on and on. Look at all of those on the screen. So exciting for all that you have done and all that you will continue to do. So we're going to talk about how you help brands, but I asked you this, I remember when we first met. How did you get into the industry? How young were you? How far back can you go?
Oh gosh, I have been into fashion since I was a little girl. Like my earliest memories were getting into my mom and sister's dance recital costumes. and luckily I come from a family, a background that has sewing experience. My dad's mother, my grandmother, was a seasoned sewist, and she passed that along to my mom, who learned over the years. And so she taught me how to sew, and I started taking apart clothing that I didn't like and resewing it into new things as early as I think I was maybe like 9 or 10.
That's incredible, Connie.
So,
I
yeah,
mean, to me,
it's
that's
been
an
fun.
art that people, I think, learn later. But what was your eye and your brain and your heart thinking at that time? Like, no, I'd like to adjust this in a certain way.
Yeah, I would just look at clothing and I would see something else for it that suited me or was different. And I was always trying to be unique and, dress a little bit differently, even though I had to wear a school uniform. So I got creative with my footwear and like hair accessories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, accessories make the outfit, everybody always says.
Absolutely.
So when you were young, did you have your friends, family members say, well, where's that from? Where's this from? Because you're dressing more unique than looking like everyone else walking around.
Yes, I tended to have, friends ask me where I got something, or I would, color in with marker on fabric to make it a different color. And I definitely had lots of people kind of following in my footsteps. And I loved that. And I've always loved being able to share my creativity with others through fashion.
Again, if you're not into fashion, or maybe here's the thing, Connie, I'm sure you hear this a lot. I just love seeing what this person wears or that person. I could never put that together. I have no eye for fashion whatsoever. But I think everybody always does. Everybody is in their own unique way. Some people just need a nudge, right?
Oh, absolutely. So many people have unique pieces in their closet that they are just used to seeing. So they don't think that they're fun or unique or different. And it's just the way you pair it together. And I always say, pair it with something that you wouldn't normally choose. And you might end up with an outfit that you really love.
Yes. I tell people a lot that you need to go back and shop in your own closet.
Absolutely.
Right? There's so much to still have tags on it or that people never even thought about putting together. I do. A lot of you know that I do a lot of design and wardrobe consulting for men. And I used to always say, take your suits apart. You have so many more slacks than you thought, so many more jackets, so many more shirts, and put them all these, and vests, put all these different combinations together.
Yes.
Oh, now if you want to buy something, great, I'm here for you. But I'm telling you, I'm trying to save you money as we can get other new things down the line. Again, if you're
Absolutely.
just tuning in, we're talking about fashion. We're talking about design. We're also going to talk about brands and how you really catapult your brand forward. So we'll get into that in just a second. So you've got this passion growing up, but how does it all of a sudden inspire you to say, I really want to go at this?
Well, I didn't realize that you could actually go to college for fashion until, high school. So once I realized that was possible, I saw a path for how I could get into the fashion industry. It felt very difficult, early 90s, early 2000s. Internet wasn't really a thing.
Right.
So it was really, I was kind of just trying to figure it out. And I realized that you could actually go to college and study fashion. Found a college here in Missouri that had a great program. And so I did that. I went to college and I've never looked back. I've been in fashion ever since.
I love it. And again, there's so many people that have been under the tutelage of Connie and the things that she's able to teach. When did you become an adjunct professor?
So I taught at WashU for 2 years, and that was fairly recent. I just stepped away actually this fall as my, after 2 years not teaching, just to focus on small businesses, which is my passion right now. But I taught at WashU. I taught the business of fashion and digital textile design, and I loved it so much. I was so sad that I couldn't find the time to do it all,
How cool. How did that come about?
I know Mary Rupert Stroescu. She was one of my professors in college many years ago. And she is, has been at WashU for the past few years, quite a while now. We've kept in touch. And so when the position opened, she actually reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to do it. And I had the best time. WashU students are so full of creativity and energy. I just absolutely loved it.
Again, but the thing I love about that, Connie, is how a professor sees something in you, and then it's all about paying it forward of, hey, do you want to do this? I mean, it had to light you up of, oh my gosh, now I get to pay it forward.
Yes.
In those 2 years that you did that, what did you hear most from the students that lit them up? Probably the same way as you were looking for in a role model.
Well, it kind of comes full circle because so much of their, hesitation with moving forward in their careers came with the kind of the business side. And that's also where I struggled in my early days as a fashion designer, not having any business knowledge.
Sure.
So that kind of has pushed me and further into my passion of supporting small business owners and how can, fashion play a part in that, even if they're not a fashion business. But so my time with the students, it really opened up my eyes that, the creativity is often there. People are, you're kind of born with it or not.
Yeah.
And the business part and making sure that their endeavors in fashion, whether that be launching their own brand, whether that be, working as a designer or a technical designer or a logistics expert, there's so many roles in fashion, but them having a sense of the business itself and what's possible really, I think, helped open their eyes to what they could do.
Well, and one of the things, again, if you're just tuning in, Connie Bourgeois, she's the CEO of Conjetta Designs. When my husband and I actually went in and spent a couple of hours with Connie, and we're talking about some exciting things that I'll kind of sprinkle in here over the next hour. And I think you nailed it. One thing that really stood out to me that you mentioned when I was at your store was people always think fashion. Oh, I got to be a designer or I got to be a model in order to, showcase. There are so many levels, as you just mentioned, to the fashion world. She was like, hey, the logistics side, getting the fashion, the shipping side. There are so many levels of somebody that could say, oh, I'm involved in fashion. And then you have to break the mindset of, oh, you're a designer? No. Do you know what it takes for us to ever wear this? Which, by the way, I'm going to show you this outfit in just a second. So I love that you said that to me because it made me go, absolutely. I know levels of fashion, but you opened my mind even more of, yeah, how does it get to this person, to that person? All the levels of people that play a role in it. So when we talk about a team effort, it really, truly comes into play when we're talking about fashion. As you are signing on, if you have any comments or questions or you've ever wanted to get into the industry, I want you to feel free to ask that now. Or again, if you watch later, feel free to do so. I'll try to pop around to our different channels to make sure that everybody is heard here. So you mentioned that your focus now has to do with the branding aspect, the small business aspect. Yeah. So when someone is a small business, what levels in their mind do you think that they need to be thinking in order to really, as I keep using the word catapult, get their message out there and become the brand that people talk about?
Yeah, I think it's really important that small businesses, especially customer facing, ones that have a store. So maybe not a retail store. It might be an ice cream shop. It might be a gym, a Pilates studio. There's so many ways that products can increase their bottom line, increase their profitability and revenue, and also be fun and give them a way to express their aesthetic. Many business owners today realize the importance of having clear branding and beautiful branding and a beautiful space for customers to come into. And that should also carry through the products that they bring in that should give their customers a reason to buy. Don't just bring merchandise in because that's what everyone does.
Right.
Bring merchandise in that your customers will want to spend their money on.
Yes.
And, especially this day and age, people don't have tons of extra spending money.
Right.
So give them something high quality that they'll love to wear or use, because we don't only make apparel.
Right.
And that will increase your bottom line as a small business and make you more profitable.
Again, Conjetta Designs. So I want you to remember this name and all the information we're giving you, because as you're tuning in, and yes, I love to talk fashion, but this was really about if you're a business or maybe you're thinking of pulling that entrepreneurial ticket, right? You think, I'm dredging through life. I don't like what I do, but I hear so many inspirational stories of guests that Monica has on, and I want to finally pull the trigger. Well, then she would be the one that's going to help out. As I am talking with you throughout this hour, a lot of it has to do with people in the last 2.5 years getting excited about different things that we've had. So I actually, when Connie got here this morning, I'm like, would you like some coffee or whatever? She's like, oh, yes. And I said, okay, we'll put it in the cup. So I'm going to show Connie, because here's what Connie and I are going to do. We're going to sit down in just a couple of weeks. These were our first cups, right? It was all about knowing your value. And then the journals right here to my left, know your value. Yeah. So I talked to Connie and I said, okay, so I'm looking around. I was like, oh, well, I love clothes. That's a no-brainer. But oh my gosh, you do this, you do this. So we're talking about doing a relaunch of, she's excited. So she and and I are going to sit down together and partner up on this. She's going to go and dig in, and I'm going to take a break. I want to hear about when someone comes to you and I get ready to do what we're going to do together. What does that look like? So for all of you that are brands going, yeah, we need that leg up. We need Connie to help us. I'm seeing some comments come in. Rose, will get it to you in just a second. If you have any questions or comments for Connie, be sure to drop them in for us. Exciting things to come. And for all of you, as you're watching now or later, what do you want to see? Come on, we've got our finger on the pulse right there from you. What would you like to see in the branding that we roll out maybe in the fall and in the winter? Because it used to be jackets, it was some t-shirts, we had jackets for guys, long sleeve shirts for the guys, we had coffee or tea mugs, since I'm not a coffee drinker. The journals were the number one thing, but what else? So she'll tell me, hey, Monica, this is a no-brainer. You got to do this. We're going to find out the steps of what it takes to help those small businesses really become the brand. More with Connie when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thanks for tuning in. Got some comments coming in that we'll get to Connie here in just a second. I mentioned I wanted to show the outfit. Now, here's the really cute thing. Zach, my director, a lot of you always hear me give my shout out to my team. Zach said, have you ever wore that sweater before? And I was like, no, I'm debuting some new clothes from Conjetta Designs today. And he's like, oh, I really like that. And then, all right, I'm not going to do a full-on stand-up and do a twirl around, but come on, look at these jeans.
And they look so great on you.
They have the cutest little slit here in the front that shows off your shoes. It is the cut of the jean. It is the thigh area of the jean that I absolutely love, and it elongates the legs, which I know a lot of short people are like, I can't wear those. What would you say to that?
You absolutely can.
Thank you.
You just need to hem them, which these have a raw edge, so you just cut it.
Right.
It's super easy.
Now I have heels on because I really want to show it off, and where it drops. It's funny because when I went in to see Connie at Conjetta Designs, my husband was like, oh Lord, here she goes. I saw these immediately, even though they were tucked behind something.
Yeah.
And he's like, how did you even see those? And I was like, someone who loves fashion sees it all. We don't miss anything.
Exactly.
So come on, don't you love this, folks? So I do have a friend that she has the inside scoop. She knows about what's coming up in October, which I'll tell you all about in just a second. She was asking, can people come to your place just on a regular basis just to come in and see what you have, or do they have to have an appointment?
Great question. So our studio, we call it a studio. It's not a store, so we are by appointment only.
Okay.
But we do have in-person shopping events about 2 to 3 times a year.
Okay.
And if you're on our email list, you will always be the first to know about those. We also, put it out on Instagram and Facebook and things like that. So please give us a follow if you're interested in shopping. We would love to have you come by.
And you just had an event.
Yes, we had our annual sample sale in August, and it was incredible. The community really showed up for us, and we cleared out a ton of space in our warehouse for new products.
And you have, or did you already have? You have an event coming up with 40 Elephants.
Yes, it's next week.
Next week, okay.
Yep, and actually this sweater
Yes.
will be there available for purchase, and this is a cashmere blend sweater that we developed, and we are super proud of it. And as you can see, it looks incredible.
So the color really, really pops. That was the thing. You know what? And Zach is showing a slide here for you about the event that they're having next week. I was looking also at some of the coats that you have, because again, we're getting ready to go into fall and colder months. The colors of that really deep kind of Merlot Cabernet drew my was really drawing my attention. We almost picked this in that color, in that more maroon, right, Cabernet color. I have to give it to my husband and you because you were like, well, what about this one?
Yeah.
And then I put it on. I was like, oh, yeah. So what color do you call this?
So we call that aster.
Aster. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
it's
yep.
very, very pretty. And I think it would be just like I told Connie that I'm known for this cobalt blue. I love cobalt blue, which a lot of you call Monica blue. But you don't want to always wear the same thing, right? So I think the reason why Zach probably said something about this is it's not a color I often wear, right? So from a fashion standpoint, how do you get people to get out of their comfort zone?
It is tricky, but the main thing is just getting them to try it on.
Yeah.
That's really the thing. It's like a lot of times things don't have much hanger appeal, and sometimes you have to look past that, or if it's not really your color, give it a try. You might be surprised once you're wearing it that you actually love it and it looks great on you. So give it a try.
Well, and I tell people, pay attention to the compliments you get. Because normally there's a common thread, not to play on words, but a common thread that matches between things. Like someone can say, oh, I look good on blues. I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's a whole spectrum of blues.
Right.
What blue? Like for me, a baby ice blue looks good on me, but just like a regular light blue, not so much. But it's that cobalt blue. You and I both agreed, though. I think that darn blue looks good on everybody.
Yes, that blue does look good on so many people.
And it's sticking around as we move into the fall and the winter again, right?
Yes, absolutely. Cobalt blue is trending and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be here, I think, for spring too. So.
Oh, yay. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. If you're just tuning in, let me introduce you to my guest again, Connie Bourgeois, the CEO of Conjetta Designs. Here's the other really cool thing. So yes, Audra and Diane, you're right. We did hit it off right away. But in another realm, by the way, you were a competitive bodybuilder?
Oh, yes. Quite a long time ago, but I did do that for about a year, and it was a lot of fun, and I learned so much about nutrition and fitness that, I still use in my everyday life.
What does it teach you?
It taught me how, the makeup of different foods, so the macronutrients within them, adjusting those levels can change your physique, paired with, of course, a certain workout regimen.
Yeah.
But I always kind of thought that, carbs, I don't do well on carbs. I don't know why I thought that. And so going through this bodybuilding routine, I was eating so many carbs that I was shocked. And no, I did not gain fat. I got very
Ripped.
muscular. Yeah. So people have a lot of misconceptions about, carbs and fats, and they all play a really vital role in your health and fitness.
I'm so glad she said it because I cannot tell you the amount of clients that I've personal trained over the years that are like, no, I can't eat carbs. I'm like, says who? Who put that poison in your brain?
Right.
Oh, I can't eat this and I got to eat less. And I'm like, that is why your metabolism is slowed down. That is why you're stuck. That's why you're putting on weight.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yes.
especially women, unfortunately.
Yes, we undereat, chronically undereat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, congratulations on that because I've
Thank
seen some of your
you.
pictures. I'm
Thank
like, you
you.
go, girl. Well, from a discipline standpoint, it takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Truly.
What did that teach you as a businesswoman?
True. It really surprised me that I was able to do it because I always thought, oh my gosh, that's so impossible, to look like that and the amount of work it must take. And it does. It takes actually more than I even thought. But I really learned to dig deep and how to handle it when things get tough. And as a business owner, you really need to have that grit.
The discipline is absolutely incredible. And one of the things that I used to always think is the amount of time it takes to train, or think about the people that train to do marathons or Ironman competitions or whatever this feat that you think is insurmountable. And then all of a sudden you do it and you're like, I can do this while juggling everything else because you also have a child. And she was so fun. She sent me a text this morning. Hey, I was getting ready to leave and my toddler got up and now I'm behind. I'm like, no, you're not behind. As long as you're here by 7 o'clock, we're good. So how old is your child?
He's 3.
3.
Yeah.
So what does that teach you as a young mom?
Oh my goodness. Patience. I've really learned to dig deep and be patient because it's just the never ending running around, making sure he doesn't hurt himself, keeping him fed when he just ate 20 minutes ago. Mommy, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? So yeah, patience, but it's so much fun and I wouldn't give it up for the world.
So again, when all of you think I'm a mom and I've got a young child and there's no way that I could do all these things, The reason I'm running through and giving you the backstory of Conjetta Designs is because I want you to see what she's evolved into, what she came from. Again, the early inspiration from moms or grandmas when they're there. Right. The art, by the way, Connie, of sewing. I've said it a long, long time. It's a lost art. You and I both shared almost an identical story of, I remember the very first outfit or t-shirt or whatever. My mom put me in sewing classes. I remember the shorts, vividly remember the shorts and the shirt that I made and how proud I was of it. But then all of a sudden I didn't hear anybody talking about sewing anymore. Do you see it coming back?
It's hard for me to say because I've been in the industry and so I'm so close to it. So almost everyone I'm around knows how to sew. But it has definitely taken a back seat in people's minds for decades with so much production going overseas. And it's not something that you can learn overnight. Right. Yes, you can learn how to operate a sewing machine, but there's so much more to sewing than that. And it truly takes training under a seasoned professional and putting in the hours. Like any skill, like any craft, it takes time to develop and evolve and master. Yes. And with the current cultural, just constant social media of changing new things every day, it can be difficult for people to kind of embrace it for the longevity that's required. Right. So it is kind of a dying art, and I really hope that more people pick it up.
I was just going to say that. I do hope so. And for those of you that have mothers or grandmas that want to introduce you to it, just explore it. And maybe you come back to it. I say this a lot, Connie, and I'm glad I'm getting a chill right now. I'm glad you and I are talking about this because I have said I want to just sit down with my mom each week and have her bring it back to me because I don't want her to ever go anywhere. But when she's no longer on this earth, I want to be able to carry that forward. I don't want it to just be lost. Absolutely. Because it really is that you sit there and go, gosh, this is incredible. So I grew up with a seamstress, as a lot of you know, and it's amazing to see. Everybody would come to my mom. Oh, Jackie, can you fix this? Or hey, can you make this for me? Yes. Okay. Yes. But I'm sure she would have liked some help.
Right.
So that allows you to kind of have I'd say a leg up because you do know that aspect and you don't have to outsource for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, especially for people who have an interest in fashion, being able to sew also can save you a lot of money. Yes. If you are a creative and you see something that is inspiring, you can make that yourself and save hundreds of dollars. And then also mending. It's so important to be able to, mend your clothes, put on a button, take up a hem. Tailoring is kind of also a lost art. They're hard to find, even seamstresses to just take in a dress. There's fewer and fewer of them. So the more people that can do those things for themselves, it's going to save you money and it's going to improve the longevity of your clothing, which is really important.
Yeah, today I'm hoping that maybe we inspire you to think either it's a hobby or maybe it's something you actually want to go into. So we're going to talk more about the branding aspect. And again, walking us through what that looks like when someone would want to come in, sit down with you, have a meeting to say, what can we do with this? The other thing that I love is if you do want something that is custom made, and then maybe you want to think of, oh, I want to have some of this in my store. Something that a lot of you that have worked with me behind the scenes have always known that a lot of places that you work with, they have ridiculous minimums that you need. She's able to cut that down. We'll find out how, okay? So we'll get to your questions as soon as we come back. We'll have more about Conjetta Designs and what she can do for you. Connie Bourgeois, my guest, when we return.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
So we're talking about it getting hot again this weekend. So for those of you that have one of those, get in it. Again, your days are numbered because fall is just around the corner. Still probably have some beautiful days in the fall as well, but typically pools close around, Labor Day for public pools. But if you've got your own, or if you've ever been wanting to pull the trigger to have one of your own, we want to thank our friends at Just Pools. They can put one in for you. I want you to go in and check them out because right now they most likely are going to start doing their end of year sales if they're not already. So think about loading up if you have a pool for your kiddos. Maybe you've got a little 3-year-old running around and they want a fun toy for the pool. You want those floats. You can get your chemicals to close the pool and maybe even load up on what you need to open it up come spring or early summer. So Just Pools, if you want to know where they're located, they're on the West Outer Road in Arnold, 3987 West Outer Road. You want to give them a call, 636-464-7110. Maybe start the conversation of what it would look like to have a pool maybe as early as next year. All right, folks, welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Connie Bourgeois is my guest, and we're talking about Conjetta Designs. So we're going to go through and talk about what it looks like if someone, like we're going to do, sits down and says, okay, how do I get my brand out there? The other is, how did you get an opportunity to keep the minimums so low, which is a huge thing, I'm going to tell you right now, for businesses. But let's go to some comments. By the way, good morning to all of you I didn't get a chance to say good morning to. Rose says, Connie, woman power, yay. What do you think of purchasing thrift outfits from boutiques and resale shops?
I think it's a great thing. I'm wearing a thrifted dress right now, actually from a local vintage purveyor, Eve's Apple Vintage. She's got a place downtown. She does private shopping appointments and an incredible selection of vintage designer. Definitely check it out. But yes, shopping secondhand and thrifting is such a great thing. There's so many amazing finds that have plenty of life left in them.
Right.
And there's lots of great local vintage collectors that people should know about. So Eve's Apple Vintage is one of them. And 40 Elephants is also a secondhand place. And when I first went there and met Allie, the owner, I went a little crazy. She had so many good things. And, it feels like better to shop secondhand, and keeping clothes out of landfills and things like that is so important.
You will love the story behind my wedding dress, which again, I contacted Connie. I'm like, I got to show you a picture of this. They used to have an event called Brides Against Breast Cancer. And so these were all wedding dresses that have obviously been worn. I ended up buying that from that event, and knowing that we were giving back for funding research against the horrible aspects of breast cancer. A beautiful dress. So for those of you that have never heard the story, yes. And people have guessed how much they thought the dress was. I was like, you're way, 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 way wrong. They guessed thousands and thousands. Right. I haven't shown you the dress. I got to show you the dress. It was $300.
Oh my gosh.
And it looks like it was $10,000.
Right.
Right?
That's incredible.
Yes. And so remember that and just be authentic, be real. Because again, think about all the money that you're spending that day when it really should be going into your life and your future family, et cetera, getting your home. So think about that, and maybe we can instill that into the younger generation, better than my generation, probably. Good morning, Julie. Good morning to Kathy. Michelle said, I love thrifting. There is a place in Paris called Kilo where they charge you by the weight of your purchases. She said she could have spent hours there, but she wasn't with a lot of shoppers. And somebody said, I thought you were going to say by the weight of you as a person.
That sounds so cool.
Right?
I could spend hours at a place like that too.
Where's your favorite place that you have traveled to that you've gotten inspired?
Oh gosh. Barcelona was incredible. I love the lifestyle there. So to me, I get inspired not just by the clothing pieces themselves, but the lifestyle. Where can you wear it? What kind of feelings does it give you?
Yeah.
So Barcelona, just beautiful weather, Mediterranean, incredible architecture and art. And I mean, Paris, you can't go wrong. There's so much beautiful fashion in Paris. But
it's still on my bucket list.
Even small towns in the U.S., though,
Amen.
There are some incredible antique stores and vintage shops and small town, in Missouri that you can find some really cool pieces. You just have to kind of look.
You have to look. You have to spend some time. Like don't be rush. This is where the patience of it all needs to come into play. And then don't be like, oh my gosh, I only have an hour or two. I'm in and out. Because you're going to walk in, you're going to find something you love, and then you're going to find even more there. I love small towns, main streets.
Yes.
Right? So you could probably look it up. Years ago, we found Franklin, Tennessee, which you've never been to. You'll thank me later. Franklin, Tennessee used to be voted as one of America's favorite main streets. And then Fredericksburg, Texas, which we just went to. Again, same thing, but go to St. Charles Main Street.
Yeah.
There's so much there.
Absolutely.
But, you know, the whole aspect of people buying things online and big box stores, it's like, come on, you're going to put small businesses out of business.
Yeah, you know, the convenience of, say, Amazon or Shein, if people are still shopping on there. Like, I get it. As a mom, a business owner, I have so little free time. So I get the appeal of convenience and quickness and it being shipped to your door. But truly, it's hurting your community a lot more than you realize. It's putting small businesses, you know, out of work. It's taking dollars out of your community and it's sending it, you know, overseas or into corporate owners' pockets, and they have enough money already. So support small businesses, vintage shops, boutiques, absolutely.
Yep.
They need it.
Just Stephanie, thank you. Yeah, she said beautiful sweater. So by the way, can you tell everybody, so you have your own designs. I know with how busy you are with a lot of the things that you're doing and you're helping with different brands that you're not doing as much. But again, it's all about, you know, being brought back and forth to it. But you do carry some different designs. So who am I wearing?
Yes. So this sweater is my design from our brand Elaine Lewis. And then the jeans are from a small wholesale that I brought in. So as a fashion lover, I bring in other brands' pieces into our studio that I love and complement some of the styles that we design.
Wisteria Lane?
Yeah, Wisteria Lane is the name of that brand.
And then I don't even want to try to pronounce it because I took, and one of the things I also love is even the extra detail that goes into, you know, having to cut a tag off, that now they have their own little safety pins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything I seem to be buying lately has that, which I absolutely love. Okay, hold on. So this is what was on the label. How do you pronounce that?
Okay, so that's Gal Bashi. That's our other brand, and we refer to it as Bashi. So that was a brand that my husband and I created together. So he is Jamaican, and that's Jamaican words. That
See, I would not have said
gal
gal
means
gal
just
bashi.
gal,
Okay.
you know, woman, and bashi means that it's a very Jamaican kind of feeling that there really isn't an English translation, but it means that you're feeling confident and beautiful, and you're probably going to like a party or you want to be seen. So it's a great feeling of, you know, empowerment, and the gal brings it to female empowerment and just as a woman feeling confident and strong in your appearance. And we want to create clothes that help people feel that way.
I love it. Gal Bashi?
Gal Bashi.
Okay, and so the thing that Connie is also very, very proud of is not only female owned, but also black owned, because as you said, your husband is Jamaican. And then military owned.
Yes.
You served in the...
My husband.
Oh, your husband did.
He's a U.S. Air Force veteran.
There we go.
Yeah. So we love to give back any way we can, and supporting other veteran-owned businesses is definitely a passion of mine.
So let's talk about supporting businesses and getting businesses, again, where they want to be. And as I mentioned, if you have any comments or questions throughout the show or later, feel free to drop those in for her. So from a brand aspect, when someone comes into you and they see this and they say, okay, I had no idea that this even existed. How does the process work? So tell us about that.
Yeah, so the first thing we'll do is we'll sit down together, and I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions. So it's my job to really understand your business, who you are, because again, as a small business owner, who you are is definitely present throughout your business.
Yes.
So I try to get to know you, your business, and your customer. You know, who are these people that are coming into your store or your ice cream parlor or your gym or, you know, whatever type of business you have? Why are they showing up? You know, what do they love about your business? And what are they doing outside of visiting your store? What is their lifestyle? You know, how much money do they have to spend on the products we might create together? So we don't just create products for the sake of creating products. It must serve a purpose, not just for your business, but for the end consumer, because ultimately you're trying to attract a certain type of person. So I dive really deep into that. I need to fully understand who these people are so that we can create things that will get them excited and get them willing to part with their hard-earned money.
And one of the things Connie said when we went into Conjetta Designs, which by the way is in the Lafayette Square area, her studio, not regularly open just for buying hours, but again, you can make appointments like we are doing, as well as a few times a year when she does have these events. You can go to those, so their best way to get onto your email blast would be what?
You can go to our website. There's a little contact us box. You can put your email in there. You can follow us on Instagram. We've got a link tree in our bio, so you can click that, and there's a way to sign up for our email list there.
Yeah, so get on that for sure so that you can know about this. But for those of you that are saying, okay, well, all right, I'm just going to roll something out. The biggest takeaway that I had from Connie was people will say, okay, here's what I think my brand is. And they're completely off the mark. That's one. Two is that they just take what was made and then they just put it somewhere and it's in some obscure area that people coming into their establishment don't even see. So something added to this is you actually go and help them do the true display so that it's right there, because there really is an art behind that, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yeah. So most of the businesses that we work with would not call themselves, fashion companies. And that makes perfect sense. So they don't always know the best way to display the products that we create together. I see this really often, and this is kind of what spurred me to see that there is a need for this, is these beautiful coffee shops and wine bars that have merch, and it's just kind of crumpled up in a cubby in the corner because it's an afterthought, which I understand. Business owners are busy. They're being pulled in a million directions.
They put a lot of money into it.
Exactly. But it's a wasted investment if no one can see it. And so people aren't buying it. So we created, this totally all-inclusive package where we'll create the products for you. We'll also come into your store. We'll assess what type of fixtures we need. How will they fit? How will they be arranged? How will they display the products we create together in the best way so that your customers will see them and want them and buy them?
So I'm not going to say where I went after I met with you, but we went to lunch at a place just a block away. And I every time I love education, right? So every time I meet with somebody and I get inspired by something they say, something they do. So you had me think a whole nother way. I went in and went to the hostess and was waiting for our table. And I looked, and sure enough, there was our merchandise just thrown into a cubby, all wrinkled up. And I'm like, that's a lot of money you all spent. And it seems like it's fun, but I can't even read what it says.
Right.
That's where people go wrong.
Yeah. It's definitely part of, why a lot of businesses are either afraid to bring in merchandise because they say, well, we did that, it really didn't sell. It's like, well, the merchandise might not have been right, or it was right, but people couldn't see it.
Right.
Or maybe you didn't hype it up enough. So we also help with the marketing aspect. We do, photo shoots. If you're going to invest in product, you should do it the right way. And so we help to make sure that kind of all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. There needs to be a marketing plan for this merchandise. You can't really talk about apparel or beanies or whatever cool things we create together the same way you talk about the beer that you brew or the coffee that you roast. It's different. So we also offer, training to their staff of like what makes these products special so that they can communicate that to the patrons.
Again, it is a full level customer service that she's providing to you, and then you get to take that. And really, it is one of the things that Connie knows that I'm going to want to be right there with her in the trenches. But they can be as hands-on with you in this process, or just let you take it.
Yeah, absolutely. If they want to see, every fabric swatch, every sample, every screen print or embroidery strike off, they are more than welcome.
See, that
to.
excites me. I know it's geeking me out.
Yes, and so we do have a few clients that are very involved like that. Many of them are not. Once they come in and they see the showroom and they see what we're capable of, they're like, okay, you guys are the experts. You do it all. Just tell me when it's going to be delivered, and that works fine for us too.
And I mentioned, Connie, and this is a big part of something that's actually made me hold off for a little bit, because some people are like, when are you going to roll out this or that? And I was like, well, look, I don't want to be left with all this merchandise. So there's two questions I have here for you. One is, you teach people when it's time for them to put that merchandise on sale and what the price point probably should be, transitioning things out when it's time to come back into play. But it's also the minimums. How did you get it to where the minimums aren't ridiculous?
Yeah, I actually spent a lot of really focused, intentional effort in my sourcing strategy to connect with partners who are able to do high quality, fully customized, but small batch manufacturing. So it's not something that's offered everywhere. And, it is more time and labor intensive. It is a little bit more expensive, obviously, than ordering 500 pieces.
Yeah.
But if you're a small business, you can't sell 500 pieces. So you might have saved a few dollars on the individual unit, but you spent way more and you're not going to be able to sell through that. So I saw that as, a major blocker for small businesses to be able to offer cool merchandise.
Right.
So yes, I went around the globe and met with so many different supplier partners and found a great handful that we've been relying on and working with very closely to be able to do these fully custom, small batch, accessible product launches for small businesses.
And I mentioned some of the businesses again that she's worked with and some of the brands. What are you most proud of since you launched? And again, you're seeing some of them right there, as well as what we mentioned in the very beginning of who she's worked with. You mentioned the story about Whole Foods and how excited you were about that. And you're like, that was great. But I mean, look at all these other brands that you've been involved with. If you have to pick one, and I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, that's like picking a favorite kid. What would you say you felt has been your proudest moment?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. I've had so many, honestly. And it probably doesn't come back to one brand. I think my proudest moment, it actually occurred a couple months ago when I was up late reading emails that I'm, getting from overseas, and my staff CCs me on most emails, and I was kind of reading through some of the conversations, and I saw the growth in my own staff of what they have learned throughout this process, and I saw them having conversations with, suppliers and clients that they wouldn't have been able to do a year before.
Right.
So what made me really proud, and it isn't being able to pick a brand, but it's seeing the impact that I've had on my staff. And I've had many, young interns that we hired that then went on to work for bigger companies. And it makes me so proud to see that.
Yep.
And then also seeing some of the students that I've, taught at WashU or, mentored through my connections to Stevens College and Lindenwood, seeing them, progress in their careers or launch their own lines. So I would love to tie it back to one brand, but there's so many that I've loved working with. But that's really been my proudest moment of seeing the impact that I've had on people. Even though we're making products, it's the people that we're impacting that's really been so impactful for me. Yeah, and fulfilling for me.
So Connie and I shared something when we met about, she was introducing me to her staff, and she's like, well, this person actually was an intern. This person does this. And I was like, you get to see it all come together of how she is able to put Conjetta Designs out there. But I mentioned to you that there's 3 interns that I've hired. And it's like, she's like, yes, I've been able to do that many, many times. You talked about the aspect of the college. I want to also say, coming up in October, there is with STL Fashion Alliance, a high school summit runway 101. So tell me more about that.
Yes, this is going to be such a great event, and we are so excited about it. We are still looking for a few sponsors from local businesses.
Okay.
But this event is to kind of open up the doors to high schoolers who are interested in fashion. We want to show them the potential pathways that they could take through education, through mentorship. We have colleges that will be coming and giving information about their fashion programs. We will also have a bunch of local businesses present who are in fashion, explaining kind of what they do, what type of jobs that they might be hiring for. So the whole goal and purpose is to just uplift the fashion community by educating the next generation of, fashionistas on what potential jobs there are.
Again, and we got it there for you, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be at the Ritz-Carlton. So pretty exciting of all the levels of, again, inspiring you. Who knows where your career can take you, what you might want to do in this field, and just, again, come as a little sponge, right? Yes. To just absorb it all. So we're talking about Conjetta Designs, and I want you to get on her email list, follow her on social media so you can find out all the wonderful things that they're doing, as well as the partnerships that they have, or what she and her team can do for you, which is exactly what we're doing. So we're going to be meeting in the next week or so. And then we're excited to tell you, coming up in October, we've got something planned as well. So we'll wrap up with that. I also always wrap up with a devotional. So I'm going to let Connie pick. These books are called 100 Days to Freedom. So think about when you were a little 9-year-old and all the ups and downs that you've experienced in your life, personally, professionally. What do you feel you and the world needs to hear? 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety, Shame, Depression, Anger. Which one of those? I'm going to let you think, and I'll let her pick when we return. More with Connie Bourgeois. Don't go anywhere.
When you want to feel good, you work out at Crunch. You don't go here, because here feels bad. But here we help you feel good. Come on, feel rejuvenated.
Join Crunch Fitness today.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
And welcome back again. You're tuned into the Real Monica Adams Show. If you're just tuning in, maybe the kids just ran off to school, you can now, when the show wraps up, you can watch it on the stream. And then do me a favor and share this with your family and friends. Let them know about Conjetta Designs. If you've never heard of them before, well, now you know. You're in the know, and she can help you. She can help others. It's really cool to see what she's going to be able to do with our brand. So let me tell you this. Coming up in October, she's come to us. Now we're going to go to her on October 10th. It's actually going to be a noontime show. We're going to do it at lunchtime. So I do have one of my clients that I train, and she said, well, could I come and watch in person? And I was like, of course. I think she's probably going to say yes.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
So if somebody does come, again, I'm not saying that we're opening it up to the masses, but if somebody does come, can they shop? Is there anything in there like I did?
Yes, of course. We have a small, section in our showroom that's dedicated to shopping. So absolutely. And we can help style them and they can try things on, all of that.
And then you'll have already debuted your trunk show with 40 Elephants.
Yes.
So some of those things, would those be available as well?
Yes, we'll have a few of those pieces still in our showroom, but the majority of them will be at 40 Elephants. And so Allie at 40 Elephants will have that for a few weeks. So if you can't make the trunk show, you should definitely come still afterwards, and you'll be able to shop the pieces.
And 40 Elephants, by the way, is in the Kirkwood area, right there on Lindbergh or Kirkwood Road. So look them up. Again, we're all about supporting small business. So we'll give you all the information that you need to know. One of the things I wanted to save. So Stephanie, I'll address this, but one of the things I wanted to save is when we go there, when we really get to showcase what she does and the whole aspect of the team working together. But it is to really address these kind of questions, which is someone saying, well, I'm short-waisted, I have long legs, I am this, I'm heavier, I'm skinnier, what should I do, right? So we'll save some of those, and feel free to load me up. Stephanie said, I find a lot of sweaters, I have a short neck, I have a hard time wearing V-neck sweaters. What would you tell to her?
You could definitely, a high neck sweater can help because it sort of camouflages the lack of space that you may have, but also it allows you to wear like long necklaces. And so it can kind of elongate your torso by giving you more of a blank canvas. So it works with different accessories and kind of how you can elongate. So I would recommend a sweater like what you're wearing, Monica. People think the opposite. They think, oh, it's like a turtleneck. I have a short neck. I can't wear that. Right. Well, it actually works better than a crew neck or a small V-neck to wear a high neck if you have a short neck.
Yeah, and this is, by the way, very breathable. Again, cashmere. It's got more of an open. It's not up against my neck, and then I love how the sleeves just hang.
Yeah, it's very flattering.
Again, very, very attractive for many different body types. We're going to save that though for I want to think about some of the questions that she gets the most when it comes to people wanting to be styled or dressed. Think about that for me for our show in October. So yes, we have a mobile Monica coming up. Okay, so ironic because everybody does this. She picked fear and anxiety, like a lot of people do. So I feel that there's a lot of fear and anxiety in our world. This is day 83. It's called Heard. In my distress, I cried out to the Lord. Yes, I prayed to my God for help. He heard me from his sanctuary. My cry to him reached his ears. This is Psalm 18, verse 6. One of the most valuable elements in any relationship is to feel like you are heard. When conversations escalate to raised voices, it usually indicates that people in the conversation do not believe they're being heard. Did that sentence make you think of a conversation you were part of that was like that? It can be very frustrating. I hear you, to feel as though your requests go unheard. Think about what we're talking about today. If somebody comes in and they're spending this money to say, all right, Connie, I want my brand to be heard and seen. And she's like, yeah, whatever. Right? I'm dismissing what you're saying. I'm going to do what I want to do. Right. That's not being heard. When we don't feel heard, anxiety and fears can develop. You may feel as though you don't matter. What you have to say isn't valuable. The anxiety, the fear we feel usually causes anger and hurt and disappointment and distance. Many people in relationships struggle with the issue of listening well. I think that's truly the art. Patience and listening. If they seek help, there can be a better resolution to the problem. What if you don't feel like God hears you? Okay, so now into the devotional side. The psalmist expresses himself like this. I cried out to the Lord. Have you felt like you couldn't be open and honest with God about your anxieties and your fears? Do you feel like you have to use religious phrases for your prayers to be proper? Well, you don't. God hears you in your whispers and in your shouts, and he provides the Holy Spirit to help you pray about things you cannot bear to share. Today, you can be sure that the Lord hears you and wants to hear from you. So will you share your heart with the world, with God today? We have Thomas Watson who said, prayer delights God's ears. It melts his heart. It opens his hand. God cannot deny a praying soul. And F.B. Meyer said, the greatest tragedy of life is not unanswered prayer, but unoffered prayer. Oh, I'm going to drop the mic on that one. That is a really powerful statement. Thank you, God, for hearing me so well. I know that I can bring you all of my fears and worries, knowing that you are listening. Amen to that. But there are a lot of people out there, whether it's, again, you're struggling professionally or personally, and that is life, right? The ups and downs, the roller coaster of life, where you feel that you're all alone. And it can be a scary place to be. Think of all of you that are in the business world right now, and you're thinking, how do I ever get to go out on my own the way Connie did, the way Monica did? That entrepreneurial spirit is one of the things that we stress on a regular basis. The greatest thing I can tell you is to not go through life hating what you do. That just doesn't make any sense to me. You agree with that?
Absolutely.
You got to find your way to what lights you up.
Right. You'll work harder for your own passions and your own business than you will for any other job.
It's fulfilling.
It's very fulfilling.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're not saying it's a cakewalk. It is definitely a lot of work, a lot of effort, early mornings, late nights, but you're doing it because it's your passion. And you're like, look at what I can do. Look at what our team can do. Look what we're building together. All right, so let me give you more information again, one more time, to find Conjetta Designs. Either go to the website, follow her on social media, shoot her an email, and again, reach out. And if it's you, or maybe you know someone that has a business that is struggling that could use her help and her services, you can reach out again directly to Connie. We didn't mention this though, her hobbies, besides the weightlifting, drinking coffee, which I gave her right away, listening to fashion industry podcasts. Do you have some favorites?
I currently am catching up on one that I've actually been a guest on, and it's full of different freelancers who are making their way in the industry pretty much alone. It's called the Successful Fashion Designer Podcast.
Okay.
So if you're watching and you have any interest in getting in the industry, I would highly recommend you listen to that podcast.
The Successful Fashion Designer Podcast.
Yes.
And it's here locally?
No, it's not local, but it is incredibly useful, and it's very different from any other, fashion education that you will receive, and it is very authentic and real, and no filters. Like you'll love it, and you'll get like reality checks from it for sure.
Fantastic. Again, we told you a lot about what she can do, about the high school summit coming up October 3rd, again at the Ritz-Carlton. Reach out to her though. So if you are struggling or you've just come kind of stagnant, she can bring life back to your business. That's what she's there for. Yeah. We all have our wheelhouses. Don't try to go at it alone. That's another thing that just gets people stressed out. You think you can do it all, and when you take that off your plate, let her do that. Watch how it blooms.
Right.
Connie, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. This was so lovely.
I'm excited to sit down with her. And for all of you, again, feel free over the coming weeks to let us know what would you like for us to start designing and to roll out. Do you want something new that we've done already, or is it something that we haven't even thought of? Some people have said, well, how about trucker hats? Yeah, I know. I've talked about that. Okay, fine. That might be there. I'm going to let her, though. She's the queen in this. I'm going to let her say, oh, this is what I feel from your brand, and maybe this is what's missing. So we will be rolling those things out too. And then don't forget, again, coming up in October, our Mobile Monica, it will be a noontime show. And as she mentioned, if you want to reach out to me and say, hey, maybe I'd like to come to that and see some of the things that she has, yes, we can have you do that as well. So on October 10th at noon at Conjetta Designs, again, in the Lafayette Square area, you can go and see her studio. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching today. Share this with your friends and family. If you didn't get a chance to watch the whole show, you can go back and watch it. Tomorrow, we'll be in studio again. Dr. Brooke Kalisiak, she's with Legacy Physical Therapy. We introduced her briefly on Labor Day. She was paired up with Jenny Gabriel from JG Optimal Wellness. Tomorrow, though, she comes in. She'll understand this when we talk about working out. Do we ever think about the pelvic floor muscles? Mommies should.
Oh, yeah.
That's her specialty. I didn't know there was an actual physical therapy specialty in that. She has been for 17 years. So can't wait for that. It's a Wellness Wednesday. And we'll also check in with Angie Hess from Spas and More on her transformation journey and the inflammation and all the things that she deals with and the trauma that people have in their bodies, how that whole aspect of spas and hot tubs and saunas and contrast therapy can all help you. So all of that coming up on a Wellness Wednesday. Thank you all so much. Remember, I have many mission statements. Knowing your value, but the other is the greatest thing you can be in life is kind. God bless you all. Have a great day.